Hi, you can call me Mira, and let's talk about books. I'll be talking about some of the best books I've read so far in 2024. I'm gonna start with an author everybody knows and loves, yes, Brandon Sanderson. When I read this book, I have already read Mistborn Era 1 and Elantris. This is a standalone novel. I read this book after Elantris, which I also really liked, but this one I just love. Two princesses. One is sent off to be married instead of the other one, and that's not how it was supposed to go. The other one is going after her younger sister to help her, because that was supposed to be her in her place. The elder sister is gonna be struggling a little bit. She's gonna be experiencing some new things and new perspective. The younger sister is uncovering some very interesting secrets in the royal court. There is heart system magic, so it is explained to a certain extent. I just loved reading this book. I just couldn't put it down. One thing I did not like about this book is the final part of this book did feel very rushed to me. Some things very quickly tied up. I would have liked if there was a sequel already and the ending would continue into the second book, where the story would continue and it wouldn't have to be so rushed in this book. There is potential for more of this story, of this world. It's Cosmere. Seems like it's gonna be a long time before we get this, but I will be waiting. Next book I really liked, Priory of the Orange Tree. Everyone in the book community saw this cover at some point. It's very beautiful. It's definitely one of my favorite covers. And I love how chunky the book is. It can look intimidating, but once you start reading the book, you will get sucked into the world. You will start exploring the world building, which I really love. I admit I was a little bit confused at the very beginning when we are introduced to our characters, because there's multiple POVs at multiple places and every place is different, so you have to get into the story, get into the world. I really liked exploring the world with the characters, and once I got past the first awkward stage of figuring out what's going on, then it was just very nice read. I just enjoyed the journey this book took me on. This book felt like a warm blanket in the autumn, just enjoying what you're reading. The ending of this book was a bit of a letdown, but I heard that the epic end battle between good and evil was not as satisfying and kinda rushed, so I wasn't surprised, and it didn't negate all the enjoyment I got from this book. Another critique I would have is two of the main female characters did feel a little bit similar to me. My favorite character wasn't who I was expecting at first. It was the old guy, but I really like this character. I really enjoy the sapphic romance in there as well. So yeah, I would recommend this book. Next book I loved was Dune. I read this book after watching both of the new movies. Basically, I knew the whole plot of the book, and I'm still not sure if I would have enjoyed it even more if I didn't know where it was going, or if I would enjoy it less because I would be confused, not knowing the terms thrown at you right at the beginning. I really like this book, even if it is sci-fi. It really kind of read like a fantasy. I think the story at this point is very well known. It is a staple of the sci-fi genre. Planet Arrakis is the only source of the spice that is the most important resource in this universe. So of course all the powerful leaders, lords, and the emperor wants to have their hands on that, because when you control spice, you control the universe. Really enjoyed the story. Again, it's a big book, 800 pages. However, it was easy read. I also love the format of this version, and I also love the minimalistic cover. I have to say, after only reading it once, it looks a little bit more weathered than I would like, but I love all of these covers. I would definitely recommend anyone to try to read this book. It might not be for everyone, but if you saw the movie and you liked it, or if you heard something about the story but you're interested, it might be also good to start with the book and then see the beautiful movie with the atmosphere and sounds to really bring it to life. I have to say, after seeing the movies, I expected even more from the book, new, more in-depth informations and details from the world and the story. But I think the new movies captured the story very well. There were some details that was changed, but it wasn't as huge of a difference as I was led to believe. Currently, I'm reading the third one, which is Children of Dune, and I have to say, so so far, the first book is definitely still my favorite. This book was also the first book ever that I tried to bookmark. There's not a lot of them, but I still enjoyed doing this. So this will always be the first book I try to annotate. Another book that I read this year, and I have to mention, is definitely Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. When I got into this book, I knew three things. It is sci-fi, it has spiders, and there's evolution. So that was very intriguing to me, and I had to pick it up and read for myself. It is the first Adrian Tchaikovsky book that I ever read, and I really loved it. I feel like it was very fresh, original idea. The switching of POVs was also interesting to me. I have to say I really like the POVs of the spiders and the evolution. It was very interesting and I was excited to see where it's gonna go in the end. I already did read the second one in this trilogy. It was still good, but it wasn't as fresh and unique as this one. Already with the first chapter, this book got me hooked. So it's no surprise I just ended up loving it. This is definitely a 5-star read for me. I will definitely be picking up more books by Mr. Tchaikovsky. I know he also has some fantasy books and I'm excited to try those also. Let's move on to another best of 2024 book that I read. That is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, a classic in the fantasy genre. After reading this one, I am very excited. I had expectations that this book will be not action-packed and it's more of a build-up for something later. It is a slow book and it is very character-driven, so I knew about that and I wasn't surprised or disappointed that no epic battles and evil and good is happening. And I just really enjoyed the ride. It was enjoyable to get to know Fitz and the start of his story, and I can't wait to pick up the next book. This time I made quite a lot bookmarks in here. I also got a little bit sad already with the first book in some scenes, which I didn't expect, and I can't wait to see how much more pain there is with these books. I would definitely recommend any fantasy fan to pick this book up, but you have to be in the mood for something slower. If you want some action-packed book, definitely don't go for this one. Last but certainly not least, Words of Radiance. Yes, another Brandon Sanderson. This is the part 1 out of 2 parts. I'm close to finishing part 1 and I can already tell I love this book and this story. I didn't give 5 stars to The Way of the Kings only because it was the beginning of the story. I know that there might be some more foreshadowing that I didn't pick up and it was a very solid setup. I like the characters. Reading this one, I just love it. Also can't put it down, which happens a lot with Sanderson books. And I actually just can't wait to continue reading this. So thank you for watching and I have a book to read.